paint the mask, the fortunate thing about the Michael Myers mask is we get to paint it all white for the first go around. You need to use a latex paint, a mask paint. This particular paint comes from a company called the Monster Makers. You can find them, you can Google them and find them to order this stuff. You can paint any latex mask with this. And when we paint the mask, the most important thing is to, of course, not get it into the hair, because then we're going to have to go back and repaint the hair. The original Michael Myers mask in Halloween 1, they actually spray painted the whole thing white. And we're going to go ahead and use a paintbrush though, so that we can work into some more detail. Get a brush that's, I don't know, about a ½ inch wide, and kind of mix your paint up a little bit. And then just start painting over the whole thing. The first layer is not that important. Just paint over everything, the eyebrows. You know, we're going to get over all the nose job we did. If it drips, it doesn't matter. We're even painting over the lips. Later on, we're going to come back with darker colors and bring out all the facial features once again. Unfortunately, this paint does not go on very thick, so we're going to have to do 2 or maybe even 3 layers before we're ready to go into the detail work. So I'll go ahead and continue this and show you how it looks when the first layer is finished. Okay, so we're finished with the first layer of white paint. If it looks kind of thick, that's the whole idea. The first layer we want to get as thick as possible. We want to completely transform the subtle facial expressions of Leonard Nimoy. And the best way to do that is to apply a very thick coat of paint the first time around. The second time it'll be thinner, white, and the third time we're going to go in and actually work on the facial expression itself. You can see here I've left some original flesh tones around the ear and the back and the base. This is desirable to give it the real life mask appearance of the original. Collectors and purveyors of fine Michael Myers masks often look for these what are called almost imperfections of skin tone, because Michael Myers was pulling this thing off and on. They painted it on the set and the first time around, and so it's definitely more realistic that way. As you can see, it's coming along very ghastly. So we're just going to let this paint dry, and then we'll go on to another layer. Okay, so here's the mask after the first coat of white paint. I did a few things here after it dried. You can notice here I've actually taken the paint off in a few places. There's a few different reasons I did this. Up here, for example, it's going to give it a more weathered, realistic look at the end after I put another coat on. Other places, like here on the cheeks and also there on the eyebrow, by doing that, when I put a second layer on, it's going to kind of thicken up around there, bringing us a little closer to the facial characteristics of William Shatner, aka Michael Myers. And so I'm going to go ahead and apply the second round of paint here, and after that we're going to let it dry and then do the finishing touches, which is the fun part. For the second round of paint, I'm using a little softer brush than the first time around. The reason for that is because we don't want to have any drip streaks in here. We want to more closely work into the grooves and pits that are remaining there, and we want to get a nice even layer without having excess drip. The dripping effect you see on some areas here, like the neck, actually I did that purposefully, and you can see here too above the lip. And the reason is when the second layer goes on, that's going to come through very subtly, and it gives it a very eerie, classic horror style that I think you'll enjoy. So I'm going to go ahead and just start again at the forehead and work my way down. Okay, whenever there's a drip this time, I'm going to be sure to catch it. And also, we don't want to have visible brush strokes, so it's going to be a very even, steady sheen. And again, I'm just going to go right over the eyebrows here. We want to really try to cover those up because the new eyebrows we're going to be painting in. Okay, there was one thing about the eyes that I noticed. They're still a little bit too narrow, and so what I'm going to do after I paint it is cut those down to size. I am going to be adding some sort of mascara, black eyeliner around the outside anyway, so I still have time to reshape those. So that's it. I'm done with my second layer of white paint, and I was able to effect some molding more towards the William Shatner mask. Like you can see the additional ruffling in the forehead. I was able to achieve a little bit of eyebrow extension, and just starting to get the grooves of the higher cheekbones of William Shatner. Actually, they're higher, but they're still sort of sagging. And I sort of made the mouth a little smaller too. That is going to probably be the most challenging thing, because Michael Myers' mouth is usually closed. But I'll be able to work with it, so I'm just going to let this dry, and then next comes the fun stuff, the really fleshing out the detail. Okay, now I'm going to sort of soften up the white tones a little bit. I'm mixing a very, very slight ash color, almost a light gray. And what I'm going to do with this is fill in some of the major shadow areas of the mask before I get into the darker detail work. And so basically you want to get sort of a smaller to medium-sized brush, and you got to be careful of air bubbles in the paint. But you can start just by filling in areas that will usually pick up shadow that you want to de-emphasize. So I'll go ahead and work on this for a while and show you. Well, here's how we're coming along. I've endeavored to bring out the mask's inherent characteristics while trying to also conjure the Michael Myers characteristics. I've tried to make the nose look a little bit more like William Shatner's by having the rounded, sort of pudgy tip. This mask is all to its own. You can see there's a real shadowed Myers image from that side.